Screen to Debo, you carried out the play fake on the backside there, and it's like if you don't carry out that fake, Debo probably doesn't get the touchdown. How do you go into that mindset of just making sure that whether you're on the ball or away from the ball, that you're doing everything you can?
I think for one, it's coached. It's coached to play without the ball, and Bobby Turner takes a lot of pride in our room playing without the ball, whether it's blocking or faking or blocking downfield when someone gets a catch. So it's just a point of emphasis that we go over all the time, and I think it's not always a big deal, but when it is, it's huge. And good fake can be worth 2 blocks if you get enough people, and so that can be the difference between springing someone for a touchdown or not.
Christian, your former position coach Lance Taylor was talked about when you were still in high school and you can enroll early in Stanford. You would call him or text him every night, trying to get up to speed on the playbook. Do you know about can you talk a little bit about that process of learning, and how long did you bug him every night?
It was a long time ago. I don't know if I remember all of it, but I think anytime you're coming into a new offense, the most important thing is just to learn the plays. And so I learned best, communicating, talking, hearing the plays from somebody else. After you've studied it on paper, I think you really need the verbal aspect of it as well. So just listening to somebody say the plays out loud, you can kind of put yourself in the huddle and in your head put yourself where you're going to be. And so, as much as I had to learn it, that's as much as I called.
Kyle said that yesterday that you're as good as any player he's ever been around without the ball. Which is a pretty good compliment for a guy who does so much damage with the ball in his hand. What point in your career life was it sort of stressed upon you that how important that was?
I think it's just always, that's a good compliment. It's always been something I take a lot of pride in. I think when you're on this team and you see a guy like Juwan Jennings blocking D ends and, Brandon Ayuk blocking 60 yards down the field, and these guys who are working so hard for you when you have the ball, it'd be a shame if you didn't do the same for them.
With Juwan Jennings, he's had a couple of plays where he's really had to fight for it the last couple of weeks. What do you see in that mentality from him?
He's a dog. He's such a good player, man. I think, obviously him, Debo and Brandon get so much limelight and credit, but when you look at what he does, not just with the ball in his hands, but blocking, he's such a special football player that's very difficult to replace. So he's a tone setter. He's a guy that you love to have on your team.
Christian, as a running back, what's your review of Brock Purdy's second quarter scramble where he put his shoulder into 2 defenders and tried to get to the goal line?
Yeah, the first one was great. I would have liked to see him slide. I think we all would, but he's a tough dude, man. So anytime he has an option to do that, as a competitor, it'd probably be tough for him to slide. But I loved it. Just don't want to see it again.
He just talked a little bit about your back and forth before the wheel route in the second half. Can you take us back through kind of that on-the-fly adjustment that you made?
Yeah, that I kind of told him just based off how the safety and some of these guys were playing me on the first one. Really with leverage, I was going to just widen it a little bit more, and he ended up throwing the ball before I was out of my break in the perfect spot, and it worked out. That happens a good amount of time. It doesn't always work, but when it does, it's a cool feeling.
Is that the type of thing that you're seeing a lot more of this year, kind of the ball waiting for you when you're coming out of the break than maybe when he was a little bit younger and less experienced?
I wouldn't even know one way or another. I think he's always been dialed in. I think it's something he does so well is throw to a spot where the person's going to be. I think he's always done that really well, and he's continuing to do it.
Christian, as you know, Shanahan says you still have maintained a walk-on mentality. And I think it kind of goes against human nature to not ease up just maybe a little, even after you've accomplished so much. How has that been instilled in you, and how do you have to fight against human nature at all?
I think experience is so important and powerful, and I think when you do take your foot off the gas, you get humbled really quickly, and I've learned that. Not that I've taken my foot off the gas. I don't think I've ever not tried hard, but it's just important in this league to respect the game and respect what it takes to play this position and to be a starter on an NFL football team, and it requires your all. And that's why I give my all. It's what the sport requires. So I think for me it's just about constantly doing everything possible to be the best player you can be.
How have you been humbled?
Well, you go through injuries, you go through losses, losing seasons. It's little things too. You might get beaten in a rep in practice. That's you think you're great until you lose, and then you're like, well, I'm not great anymore. I lost. So just there's constant things. That constant urge for better is really important.
How hard are you on yourself with your practice reps?
Say it again.
How hard are you on yourself with your practice reps?
Very hard. I think we're all hard on ourselves. We want everything out there to be perfect. Obviously, you have to practice for a reason. So you try to be perfect, and when you mess up, you just correct it and move on.
What's your mindset when it comes to seeing an opponent that you just played 2 weeks ago? Is it an advantage that you played them so recently?
I try not to think of it as an advantage or disadvantage. I think, each week is a new week, whether you've played them or not, and so for us, we look at the tape the same as if we hadn't played them at all. And, obviously you're going to look at some stuff that they did last game, some stuff that we did last game, and make adjustments when needed. But each week you got to bring it.
Christian, you're a busy guy, but have you had any chance to watch your bro at all, Luke, this year? And give us the scouting report on him. I know he plays wide receiver. I know he plays quarterback.
Yeah.
What do you think of him?
Yeah, I've watched every snap of every game. It's been so cool to watch him, man. I mean, I love watching them more than anything I do. That's like my favorite thing on the planet. And so, it's really his first full year playing receiver, and he was first team all conference. If I'm a scout, I mean, he's got every tool you need. He's fast, he's big, he's strong. He can play any position, and I think, and Bobby Turner always talks about what the greatest compliment you can give someone is that they're a football player, and that's exactly what he is. He look at, I don't know how many Sports Center top catches or whatever he had, but I would love to play with him one day. That'd be the coolest thing ever. So I'm excited for him and his journey, and he's only going to get better.
When you see Debo do what he does, is it more impressive watching it like on film or live on the field?
Probably, they're both impressive. Sometimes I don't get a good view if I'm in the play of him and what he's doing. So when I'm watching on film, you can really see how impressive it is.
But when he's is he running by you on the field, you see something like, this is crazy.
I just think the physicality he plays with, the want to get more yards, he's got something that a lot of receivers don't have in this league, just that that toughness, that willingness to, put his shoulder down and continue to fight for more yards and break tackles.